Good afternoon and welcome to 365 Days of Amazing Stories with Theo Mera. Here we are on January 13th of 2025, and I'm continuing the story of what the rose did to the cypress. Now you might remember that Almas Urubaka went around the palace trying to figure out a way to get in, and he really could not find any place or any way to get in. And he was quite devoted to God. And at one point he just prayed and said, "O holder of the hand of the helpless." What a way to describe God. O holder of the hand of the helpless. He prayed that he find a way in. And as he did, he came to the stream where he had taken off all of his clothes and left them, and then, clad only in a loincloth, had floated through the walls, beneath the walls, in this stream, and gotten into the garden. He found it incredibly beautiful, a place that would steal your senses away. The scents of the flowers were amazing. Jasmine, roses, lavender, thyme, all these different beautiful, herbal, heavenly blossoms. Bees were harvesting nectar, buzzing as they went. There were pigeons cuckooing and nightingales and small little birds up in the treetops, eating from the fruits that were abundantly hanging from the branches of these trees that were growing everywhere. The stream, of course, made just a beautiful sound and was a beautiful sight as it wound its way through the garden. Now the prince, he had waited until his loincloth was dry, then had done his wandering, taking in all the scenes that he could see, and he saw no one during his entire time that he was exploring. He came to an outside palace, a pavilion, and there in the center of it was a seat that was made of polished jasper. And beside it was a basin of crystal clear water. And he delighted himself in all of these sights and sounds and smells for the rest of that day. And as night came on, he decided that he would spend the night within the garden, which he did. From there, as night fell, he looked up at the starry sky between the leaves of trees. The sounds of owls and crickets, frogs filled the air. The scents of the flowers wafted over him as the breeze blew from one direction and another, lightly, caressing his skin as the air sometimes can. And in the morning, he awakened. No one was still in the garden, and he wandered in the direction of the pavilion that he had seen. And just as he was doing so, there was a group of beautiful young women that came somewhat frolicking out in garments that, found lightness in the air, blowing from their bodies as silk will do. So light it was, the fabrics. And then he saw that in that polished seat of jasper sat a most beautiful woman, and he knew immediately that this must be Mira Fruz. She was beautiful. But you must remember that Amasurubaka, he felt a little bit, of hostility toward this woman who had taken the lives of both of his brothers. He hid himself in some shrubbery that was right next to the stream. There was a pool of water there, but he had a view of the girls and of Mirafruz and began to wonder again, how would he get through this day? As he did, a young woman came with a pitcher to fill it right there at the pool where he was hidden. And as she looked down toward the water, before even placing her vessel within it, she saw reflected back at her a beautifully handsome face, the face of Almas Rubaka. Now she started, not knowing what to think. Was this a genie? A true man? A spirit? A nature spirit? What was it? She dropped her vessel in the water, which created rings. And then she screamed, as women will, as people will, when they're frightened by something. She lifted herself from the ground and ran back to Mirafruz to tell her what she had seen. And we'll stop the story here.